mandatory in the hospital for men. Now, before y'all start calling me a pick Misha, and yes, Misha is my name, and I'm really upset about that. Anyway, that's besides the point of this video. Yes, I believe that DNA test should be mandatory for men, all men, including married men. And just to piggyback off of Sister's video, when my baby daddy asked me for a DNA test, I didn't care. It didn't offend me. You know why? Because I knew he was the baby daddy. But he didn't know he was the baby daddy, right? I feel like if you offended by a paternity test, 9 times out of 10, you was fucking somebody else. And you may not know who the baby daddy is. It's at least a toss-up. Because I knew with both of my kids that my baby daddies was the fathers. That's it, that's the post.
She's absolutely right, because guys, that is a red flag. What type of woman will truly get offended by that if she don't have anything to hide? Don't try to start acting all mad and getting upset. Just take the DNA test and prove the guy wrong then.
Should it be mandatory for paternity tests to be taken before the birth certificate is signed?
Hell motherfucking yeah.
You are not.
Yes.
You are not.
Yes.
You are not.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes, ladies. Do you know how many men are still paying child support for kids they found out that wasn't theirs? It should be every single time a human being is brought into this world.
Yeah, 1 in 3 people that get a DNA test are not the father.
Yeah.
And those are only the people that get a DNA test.
So you're scared little mama been giving that pussy out. In that 3 days, you may be sad then, or look up at 19 years later and know you wasted 19 years of your life, fella. Hell yeah, you need to get a blood test that second.
I'm probably going to get a lot of flack from women for this, but it's fine. Don't care. Until you've actually experienced what we experienced as a family last year, you will never understand where we're coming from. So shh. DNA testing needs to be made mandatory before any man signs a birth certificate. Plain and simple. There are far too many men out here who are being forced, because it is forced, they weren't given a choice.
Facts.
To take care of children who they never even fathered in the first place. The impact that falsified paternity has on men, as a woman, you will never understand. I will never understand, because it's not you that's going through it. But I can tell you, having watched this unfold in my eyes, that the impact is detrimental. And sometimes there's no coming back. And women are responsible for this, especially the ones that know full well that that man is not the father of their children, and they have not communicated that. Statistically, you cannot actually state how many men have experienced falsified paternity. Why is that? From an interpretivist perspective, the reason why you cannot actually pinpoint statistically how many men experience falsified paternity is because a lot of men hide in shame. They go through this trauma and this pain quietly because they have no one to talk to, no one that understands where they're coming from, and they're embarrassed because really, in your head, you're probably thinking, how could you have been such a fool?
Yes, that is very true, because a lot of good men felt as if the whole town was already laughing at them anyway. Everyone knew it wasn't his child. He knew it wasn't his child. But back in the day, in the early 80s and 90s, DNA testing really wasn't a thing. Like, he couldn't go get a test done or prove it. So he just got to work, put his head down, and just never said anything about it. But of course, on the inside, it was killing him.
You are shaking.
I know.
I feel your nervousness from here. Are you okay?
Yes. Yeah, I am.
Mr. Benning, you are not the father.
I know it. Get off me. Stop. No. Get away from me.
Mr. Kaiser, you are not the father.
You sure?
I'm sorry, Mr. Kaiser.
You sure?
Are
you
I'm
sure?
so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's gotta be a mistake, right? It's a mistake, right?
I am so sorry, but it is not a mistake.
How could you have been bamboozled? I'm here to tell you I'm here to tell you that if you ever find yourself in that position as a man, look, you are not a fool and you are not wherever else you call yourself, okay? You are literally a victim alongside those children in this situation. And you see that woman, she's going to burn in hell. Nothing good ever comes from bad. Just remember that. A lot of people love to say that men's mental health matters, but does it really? Because if men's mental health really mattered, then we would have a wide variety of support groups available for men that have experienced falsified paternity. We seem to have a lot of support groups for single mums and a lot of support groups for mental health in general, but not support groups for men specifically who have experienced falsified paternity. The impact that has, yes, it is mental health, yeah, but the impact that has from a mental health perspective, sometimes it helps to have a group of people that have gone through the same thing where you can speak to each other and you can work through it together. But when I've Googled and I've searched high and low, I'm finding that access to such support groups is very much limited, which means that either men's mental health doesn't matter in that regard or not enough light is being shed on falsified paternity. Falsified paternity is something that needs to be made a crime, and fast, because the impact that this has on men is unbelievable. I watched it unfold.
That's right. I believe it's a special place in hell for women who lie about a man being a father of a child that's not his. It should be a top tier felony.
They never ever recover from it. All jokes aside, women that do this, I'm telling you now, yeah, you're going to burn. You are going to burn. Yes, you are. Because if you don't do right by people, especially clean-hearted people that want to be fathers, don't worry. You think you got away with it. I come from a male-orientated household in the sense that there's only 6 female cousins in my family and the rest are all boys, okay? I have brothers and I'm the only girl child, and so...
Yeah, so she understands it.
Of course, anything to do with men is of a priority and concern to me, okay? Especially their mental health. If you're a woman and you find yourself in such a compromising situation, my advice to you is to do better, be more responsible, close your legs, raise your standards, and do a DNA test. It's that simple. Have a good day.
Close your legs, raise your standards. And to me, that's not even a big deal. If these women want to go out there and sleep with the entire town, just be responsible when it comes to finding out who's the father of this child. Don't lie and just put it on the man that you want to be the father and have this man financially scrapped trying to take care of a child that may not be his.
My opinion is that DNA should be part of the maternity package in hospitals, DNA testing. Let a man move out of that hospital when he knows for sure that he is the father to that child. You see, yet the child is not yours. And I would like to equate that pain to the pain a man that was present, a man that loves the child, a man that loved being a father feels when he learns that the child he's been loving and caring for is not his.
Unpopular opinion, a DNA test should be mandatory for any male that wants to be placed on a child's birth certificate. I know a lot of people aren't going to like that, but if it was just something that was mandatory, it should just be no argument, no nothing. If it's his child, it's his child. And if it's not, there's just so much more that goes into just knowing who you are and your identity based off of both of your parents. I was just thinking about it because there was a video that went viral about a man that went to jail for not paying child support for a child that wasn't even his. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? First of all, that guy should not have even gone to jail until a DNA test was done. And if we did not make this a thing where it was a choice and something that becomes something emotional, shouldn't be anything emotional. It's not about mistakes that was made in my life. It's about a child knowing their identity, knowing their heritage, knowing their ethnicity, knowing where their ancestors come from. It's just so much more. And it shouldn't be something that's just up in the air for you to decide.
And I like where she's going with this. She's saying that it shouldn't be on the parents to have the DNA test done. It should be required DNA testing done in the state, which is going to be enforced at the hospital, where the hospital has to perform a DNA test before any birth certificates in that state can be signed. It should not be a conversation that either the mother and father shouldn't even have to have.
We'll be able to co-parent, I guess, when he gets a DNA test, which obviously I've literally never said to anybody in an entire year but him, but okay. I'm just gonna let him think whatever he wants. I think it's an excuse, though, to be negligent my entire pregnancy. To be like, oh, I don't even know if it's mine. Like, okay, whatever. That's just obviously, like, an excuse, but it's okay. You can't force anyone to act any certain way. I'm gonna do the DNA testing when the baby's born. I'm not gonna do anything before the baby's born. I'm not gonna do a risky procedure because some guy is wanting to be like petty over like saying like, oh, he doesn't know if it is. Like, I'm not doing a risky procedure just for that. So no, it's gonna wait until I give birth. I did ask them about DNA testing at my first appointment, but they basically they were like, well, do you have any doubt who the father is? I said, absolutely not. They said, okay, well then he can wait until
like I have the JBL speakers,
the birth. Like there's no need to do this unnecessary testing beforehand.
Yeah. Another San Diego producer, hell yeah.
People just take what I say and they just twist it, so I'm not even gonna explain myself anymore. If you believe everything you see on the internet, you're stupid.
Guys, and it be women like this who will sit here and convince you that, oh, I know who my child's father is. They are 100% right. And then it come out later that he actually is not the father. Then she's going to start crying for about 10 minutes. And then she's going to stop. And then she's finally going to tell you about the guy she forgot to tell you about that could be the father. Don't ever take a woman's word for it.
Now, one of my videos, I talked about having 3 dads growing up. As much as that sound cool or whatever the case may be, is really not what it's all knocked up to be. I feel like I had to carry on dealing with 3 men who were claiming to be my father to cover up somebody else's lie. Now for the past 10 plus years or whatever, I've been on a hunt to figure out if one of those men are my father or somebody else. It took me years to find one of them because when I moved to Indiana, I lost contact with him. The other 2, well, one of the other 2, I have a great relationship with. We just never got a chance to do a DNA test. I think more so because I don't know what the result's going to be. And me and him have had conversations about it. But I'm afraid of hurting his feelings if he's not the father. Well, I wouldn't so much say me hurting his feelings, but just that big slap in the face because he did so much for me. The other guy of the 2, I've had his last name. He came around every so often, but when I brought up the whole DNA test to him and explained my side of things, he just keeps saying, I am your father, I am your father. I don't think neither of the so-called adults see the hurt that it have caused me being in this situation.
Now that is very true. I can remember growing up in the 80s and 90s. I remember seeing and hearing about incidences like this, especially growing up in the church like I did. I saw a lot of good men raise children that they knew wasn't theirs, and everybody in town knew that that wasn't his child, but he was such a good man. He would just raise the child as his own anyway. And these are the type of things that men need to be focused on. I know we have an election season coming up soon, and regardless of who you vote for, whoever you put in the office, we want mandatory paternity tests done before a man can sign a birth certificate. Put these type of laws on the books. Issues that really matter to men. But that's all I got in this video. Definitely drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about mandatory DNA testing done before the birth certificate is ever signed. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.